Hi. I was going to give you all a big introduction. I was going to say welcome to this wonderful opportunity, this partnership with Universal Music and Disney to launch the soundtrack for Frozen 2, which is a week away from being in cinemas.
Were we not supposed to come out? She opened the door and I was
fine. I'm glad you're here.
Go back, by
No,
the
please don't. Please don't. The soundtrack is out now, which is great. I was just saying to these guys, you can stream it, download it, or actually hold it in physical form, which is what I kind of like to do, because I like to read all the sleeves and stuff as well.
Yes.
I'm a bit nosy like that. I wanted to start by asking you guys how it feels, knowing that you're a week away from the film being unveiled to the world, and the fact that the music's already out there, which gives people a lovely opportunity to, you know, get the songs in their head and sing along at the cinema. Didn't you want to start?
We're excited. We've been working on this for 3 years, and it's sort of a bittersweet process because it's kind of like our baby, and then it's going out to all of you to feel and comment, and but we believe in it. We know it's beautiful, and I think I can speak for us that we love it even more than the first one.
Yeah, it's pretty daunting and incredible for anyone to try to tackle a sequel to a musical. Like, generally, they don't work, other than Grease 2, obviously.
I agree.
I
agree.
But generally, that's the exception. And you told me about Funny Lady today.
Yeah.
You know that there was did you know
Yeah.
there was a sequel?
Yeah.
So I'm the odd man out here. So I didn't know about this. But, of course, leave it to Bobby Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez, who just didn't even break a sweat going into this. And I think the reason for that was they knew that they were writing to the characters at this point in their journey.
Yeah.
And they didn't dare to try to copy the first film. They wanted it to be its own thing. And I think that's why it's so successful. And that's why I cannot get into the unknown out of my damn head.
Me too. But it's, you know, when you talk about the first film and it not just being a sequel, this is, but to follow up the huge success that film had. And for you guys, you know, thinking back to that time, that was 6 years ago that film was unveiled to us, but you were involved obviously before that. Thinking back to stepping into that world and what it felt like then as opposed to what it feels like now. Is it a big difference?
For me, I don't know what you guys feel, but the creative process of doing the first movie was only different in the second movie in that it's the same creative team. Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee and Bobby and Kristen Lopez are so collaborative and so creative. And getting to go back to the second movie, I felt freer and more creative because we all know each other so well now. We spent 6 years together, and so there's a kind of shorthand and a freedom in creating in the booth at this point.
At what point do you get introduced to the songs that your character is going to be involved in?
All different times. It's such a, like Jonathan was saying, it's such a collaborative process. First we come in, there's a draft without any music, and we kind of put our voices down on that, and then they start to put songs into certain places and try them, and then I forgot because I was hearing her phone. Do you have a call that you needed? What was I saying?
You were,
different stages of when you hear the music.
you were just calling out that girl for her phone.
I wasn't trying to. I just got distracted because the phone in the front row in theater is actually very distracting. People don't know that.
There's a different process on both films. So I remember one of the first things I ever recorded as Olaf was in Summer on the first film. But for the sequel, they didn't have that song until much later in the process. And I think one of the first songs that I ever saw or heard was actually Kristen's song. It was like one of the first songs that they had done, which is such an emotional and beautiful song. And then Into the Unknown, I think, was pretty close after. And then the other songs sort of found their way later in the process.
Well, we're going to hear a couple of songs from each of your characters, if that's all right. We're going to start with you and Lost in the Woods, if that's all right.
One of our favorites.
Yeah, me too. So we'll have a listen, and then we'll get some questions for it. So let's take a listen to Lost in the Woods.
Now I know you're my true north, 'cause I am lost in the woods. Up is down, day is night, when you're not there. Oh, you're my only landmark, so I'm lost in the woods, wondering if you still care.
Maybe the most awkward situation you've ever been. Your little face. You were like, I don't know where to look.
Well, this is. Oh, I'm trying to talk on Jonathan's song, but this is where it's weird to hear the music before you see the movie as well.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Because
that's
definitely
true.
there's a context going on. And go ahead, I'll let you.
Yeah, can you explain a little bit, give us a little bit of background without giving anything away about the film as to kind of where the song's placed, and because it's got a specific tone to it, and it's almost like a music video within the film as well, the way
Yeah.
that it's perfectly done for your character and for the story.
Yeah. So no one here has seen the movie, right? No, obviously not. Oh, some people have. Okay. So basically, Christoph. Whoa.
And now he's dead on the stage.
He's nearly lost an Arrowwood right behind you.
Exactly. Literally lost the word. And it's live. Christoph is trying to propose to Anna in the second movie. He wants. That's kind of a spoiler alert, I guess. And it's not going well. It's not going well for him because he's a mountain man and he has trouble expressing his feelings, particularly as far as love is concerned. And so, about halfway through the movie, it's another failed attempt at a proposal, and a fantasy sequence happens where Christoph lets loose singing an 80s inspired emotional ballad. And like you were saying, the animation is sort of like an 80s music video.
Let's not forget the kind of Bee Gees Queen back in
Yes.
reindeer,
the
back
reindeer,
in,
yes.
back in
It
back.
becomes a big reindeer extravaganza.
So good.
And you sound freaking
Incredible.
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 Yeah.
you.
I wanted to ask as well with the journey that song took in terms of when you first heard it to what you ended up recording as well, in terms of does the song have its own journey to what ends up being in the film?
Well, Bobby and Kristen wrote the song and they'd send like a demo. In this case, Bobby was singing on the demo and sounding great. And I knew it was a special song from the first time I had heard it. The thing that made it kind of unique is that it's a little over the top and a little, it's like, like an over the top 80s song. So when we were recording it, we were trying to toe the line between playing into the camp but not sending it up too much and making it still feel real and emotional.
Yeah.
And then the other sort of unique thing about the song is that I sing backup too as the reindeer. So I would because Christoph does this voice for the reindeer. So like the reindeer normally talks like this. So they would have me singing so in the background singing, I would start by being like, lost in the woods, and then they'd be like, okay, take it down 50%, and then lost in the woods, and so we sort of like found like a weird reindeer
Like,
back.
just do what you did in Hamilton.
Scrap that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, you can relax now because Josh, it's your turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know it's weird.
We're going to take a listen to When I'm Older. So let's take a listen right now.
This will all make sense when I am older. Someday I will see that this makes sense. One day when I'm old and wise, I'll think back and realize that these were all completely normal events.
It's interesting.
That's it!
There's a scream as well. There's an amazing scream that you do as well. I mean, we couldn't play it for fear of breaking all the windows in the building. But you can visualize that song. You can visualize what Olaf's doing from just hearing that short clip. It's so brought to life in the melody and in the performance. And I wanted to ask whether that's something that is talked about in terms of, Olaf as a character, but what you brought to that character in the first film, and then where he goes in this film, if that's...
Yeah, well, it's a twofold question. One is every time I get a song by Kristen, and in particular Bobby, ever since we did Book of Mormon together, he does the best Josh Gad impression ever. So he literally, he makes me sound like a version of Kermit the Frog that's on drugs. And it's just like... And so I try to copy his inflections because I think they're just so perfect. Where Olaf is at in this movie is a little different than the first movie because the first movie's like a toddler. he's got all this naivete, and so he thinks it's a good idea to walk out in the summer as a snowman and there won't be any consequences. In this movie, he's starting to recognize that the world is a little crazy, and he's starting to ask difficult questions. And the joke is that he's in this enchanted forest that's terrifying, where all of these horrific things are happening behind him, and he's acting as if it's all okay and it'll all make sense once he's come to a certain age. But the audience is ahead of the joke. And also, spoiler alert, he wants to propose to Elsa, which is that's not true.
At what point do you record the music? What stage is the film at when you record the songs?
It depends. I originally recorded a song that never made it into the movie, and you did as well. You did a duet, right?
Yeah.
And so you, like the rest of the process, the movie discovers itself, right? So there's a lot of variations of the film along the way. And it was later on when Bobby and Kristen excitedly called me and they said, okay, we think we have an in as to what we think the character needs in this moment. And I heard the song and was like, this is genius. Once again, it's just so subversively funny and so brilliant and tells you so much about the character without being on the nose.
Yeah. Dina, this song.
Play it.
Let's hear Into the Unknown.
Into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the unknown.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What was your reaction when you heard
When I hit that note, I went, oh my God, I just hit it. Well, because all the 10 other takes weren't like that. There's actually a blooper reel that the animators do that we're sort of not supposed to know about, but we know. And they have me coming out in the animation, into the unknown, into the unknown, into the, F word. Shit. From a take on it. It was so funny.
It's a really special song.
Yes, it is.
Hits you like a ton of bricks straight away and stays with you. Did it have that impression on you when you
Yeah, they get to know us. I mean, the greatest honor is getting to work with brilliant composers like the Lopez's and be involved, be there, be at the piano with them when they create a song for you in mind, and they get to know you and your range and your impulses as a singer, and it's just they get inside of you and they make our lives really easy, you know, and then it just feels like it's soaring out of you, you know.
Are you singing it as Elsa?
Yeah, as Elsa and Idina are pretty, intertwined, and
Show them your magic.
exactly. That's the one place I fall short. But yeah, God, am I singing as Elsa? That's a good acting kind of question. I think we're always ourselves, but we add our levels of character into what we do. But the soul of who we are is always in all of our characters. So. And I'm singing her as Idina. I'm not changing my voice or anything to be her. But their songs just move me so much. And when I hear myself, I'm not objective. I'm a perfectionist. It's hard for me to listen to myself. You know, I hear things and stuff like that. But when I first hear the song, I get so moved. And when I hear that undercurrent, and when the best day is actually when I've heard the take that they're going to use of my voice. I know what it is. I'm happy with it. And now they take it to the studio with 89 live musicians, which is so rare to even hire that many live musicians these days. 2 harps, like 50 strings. And you go in and you sit in there, and it's like the old times, you know, and they have this big television screen up with the scene, as much of it as it's animated at the time, and it's flowing up there, and everybody's boom, boom, boom. And the conductor is our friend Steven going like this. And that, I brought my son and my father, because that's the time when I can really just appreciate the Disney moment of it all.
That makes me want to cry just hearing you talk about it. That's amazing.
The first time you hear that thing, because that's not in the demo that we sing to, so they wait so they know what the vocal's going to be, and then they go and add 89 musicians behind it. So that's when I got you.
That makes me want to cry too, because I wasn't invited to one of those.
Oh, Let's distract Joshua and get some audience questions, shall we? There we go, straight away, lady in the second row. Hello.
Hi, Josh. My son is a big fan of your movies, specifically the one where your little doggy voices. But
My little doggy movie.
yeah, but you like playing a lot of animal characters as well. You do so well in all of. And what's the most exhilarating moment for Olaf in this movie? I mean, he's always the funny guy, right?
The most exhilarating moment, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's, let's just say that there's a little bit of a recap of events from,
yes.
Oh yeah,
From-
not spoiling.
Oh, yeah.
from the first Frozen film that that Olaf gets to act out, shall we say. That's pretty fun.
He
and-
brings everybody up to speed in a matter of about 30 seconds.
30
He goes
seconds,
through the
yeah.
whole first film.
So that's pretty exhilarating. But you know, I think the most exhilarating moment for me in doing these films is you spend so much time in solitary. You're recording in a booth alone. We never work together. Doing it with our brilliant creative team, and then you see all of it come together, and it is one of the most breathtaking experiences because it's the work of hundreds of brilliant animators who are spending 3 years working on something that is so like beyond your wildest dreams. And they take what we do and they add so much to it. And so it's suddenly like you think you know how powerful Into the Unknown is, and then you see the movie and you see what they've done with Elsa's character, and I dare you not to just wipe away tears of joys. Joy, the plural, is no reason.
Two eyes, two joys.
Yeah,
Fine.
two joys. Wipe away both joys, I dare you. I think it's such an exhilarating experience to see how the collaborative effort comes to life.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your question. We'll go here and then there we go. Thanks.
So when Frozen 1 came out, I guess no one really knew how much of a huge impact it was going to have, and it gave birth to probably millions of covers on YouTube, which I think probably people in this room were part of as well. And I was wondering, from this soundtrack, Frozen 2, which 3 songs do you hope will have the most covers?
Probably the 3 we've just heard.
Our song.
One, two. Anything without Kristen Bell in it, I think we're all.
This is going to sound like BS, but I think that we all care about each other so much and what we are a part of that we really care that all the music is celebrated because it's that good and it's about telling the story and you guys getting to feel like you really know and love these characters, and it's not.
I'm gonna say something a little less PC. I'm gonna say these two people are going to have remakes of their songs. It kills me with jealousy to say this, but their songs really are the breakout songs. And I say songs because there's another song that Idina sings in this film that is insane. That like takes it to a next level. That is just still every time I see it, I cry. Tears of Joys.
Your album title. Josh Gad, Tears of Joys.
I guess as well, it's the beautiful way you talk about all these people that work on this film, and Christoph as well, and how the score as well is molded in between all these beautiful songs as well, and how that's crafted together as well is another extraordinary achievement, I think, as well for the film. Okay, we've got to go to the back there. We've got someone. Hello.
Thank you. Hello. So great to speak to you. Hi. I would love to know, when you first hear the song, maybe you have a specific memory of one in particular, how do you hear it? Is it just piano and voice? I know you mentioned some demos. And do you instantly love it? Or are you like, or, is there an instance where you're like, I loved that straight away?
Honestly, guys.
We hear it. He gets to hear Bobby. I usually hear Kristen singing, and she loves to sing. And she actually has a really beautiful voice.
She has a great voice.
Yeah. So she sings it really high, and and yes, most of the time, it feels, maybe it's a key thing. I think, okay, I'd love to get in there and play with the key, which I don't know if you all, some people think that just means the highest note and the lowest note, but a key can really just have an emotional place. And if you, like, actually Let It Go was, if you can believe this, it was actually a step lower, but that day that we were recording it, not that I wanted to make it higher, but I thought it sounded a little too sultry, and I thought if I made it a little higher, maybe because I was afraid of how old I was getting in real life, that people would know, but I wanted her to sound more innocent and juvenile, so I said, can we raise this a little? And that's like been probably the worst thing I've ever done in my life. But that's, you know, stuff like that, because I just felt like she sounded more innocent and excited about things instead of sounding like she was smoking a cigarette out in the
I
ice
don't want to
castle.
hear "Let It Go."
You know what I mean? That'll be when I'm 85 in Vegas, you know. There's like little ice sculptures around me. I'm in the B lounge because I couldn't make it in the Celine Dion theater. And I'm like, let it go.
I can't
Can we
wait.
drop it down 2 keys, guys?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. And just next to you, or wherever you've got the microphone's great. Thank you. There's loads of hands, which is great.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
First, Idina, I think you are phenomenal, and we all love you so much.
Thank you.
So, but Elsa was so closed off and trying to hide herself in the first movie, and then in the end, she found herself. Do you think you felt more free in recording this new movie and the new songs? Do you feel like it was unlimited with what you could do with your performance?
That's something we explored a lot, because we found that we were stuck in some of those old habits and patterns when we would record her, of her being apologetic and sort of fearful all the time, maybe dealing with her own shame about her power and how it's hurt people in her life and sort of being hidden away. And so we would approach things that way, and we had to go back in the second film and re-record a bunch of scenes, because we realized this is not her. That may be Anna this time, is a little bit more fearful of the future and what's out there. But Elsa's got a sense of optimism and enthusiasm and this sort of an all-knowing feeling that even though it might be scary out there, that she needs to go and that something good's going to come of it.
Amazing, thank you. And we've got time for one more question, so wherever you can get the mic to. I can't quite see up the back.
Hey, I want to speak. You're talking a lot about there's a creative process in making this movie. Did you ever have a chance to change something for you? Like, oh, I would like my character to do a little bit more like this, or sing the song like this, because you wanted to?
Yeah.
I have a very boring answer to this, which is, you should probably talk after this.
Yeah.
For me, no.
Did you have a chance to?
Yeah, when I got the song, particularly when I got the song Lost in the Woods, my whole thing was I don't want to mess it up. I wanted to try and fulfill, the song was so great, I wanted to match it. And that, I felt, at least with Christoph in particular, the stuff that they wrote for him was so specific, and his storyline in this particular movie is very specific. There was like moments of play and moments of creative freedom in the booth doing the lines with Jen and Chris. But as far as the music was concerned, I was just trying to sing every note to the exact amount that Bobby and Kristen wanted me to, because I felt like it was so great and I didn't want to mess it up.
I'm the opposite. I really find so much of Olaf on the day and just playing around. And it's the freedom that this amazing creative team has given us. But I remember, one day to make Chris and Jen laugh on the first film, I was reading a scene and they just were literally walking through this ice tundra. And then it just said something about like Olaf walks into something pointy and I go, oh, look, I've been impaled. And the next thing I knew, millions of dollars were spent animating that idiocy. And I was like, oh, I can get away with murder on the second one. And that was the thing. But in terms of the music, I think you have such a brilliant foundation with all of it, but Bobby and Kristen just see it all, and they give you these demos, these piano demos, and they're so full of life. And, it allows you to have such a great framework with which to play that you don't really need to change much.
I agree.
We've run out of time, but we can't thank you enough for being here. Jonathan, Josh, and Idina, thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Don't forget, the film's out in cinemas next Friday. Friday, and the soundtrack is available to stream now, download, or hold and caress. Thank you for watching. Take care.